Well, heidi-ho, everybody. Thanks for dropping by. Uh, this time around, I'm going to do a kind of a channel update about what my plans are here for the rest of the year. We're in the third month now. I'm not getting anything done really, so I need to knuckle down and get some stuff finished. I've got quite a few builds that need done. But I also have a stash ad with a bit of a story, and I wanted to share that with you. So let's get started with the stash ad. Alaskan Hauler. So when I seen this was being reissued and coming out, I was ecstatic. I was like, Skip, we got to get that, because of course me, Skip, talking in the third person here, this is one of my Holy Grail kits. When this first came out back in the 70s, I think it was 77, I wanted this kit so bad and never could find one. Of course, we're talking the 70s, no internet, living in Central Florida, West Central Florida. To even find a decent hobby shop, it was probably an hour's drive. All the drugstores, you know how it was back then. If you were modeling then, all the drugstores sold models. We had in my town here, we had a Neisner's, which is kind of like a Woolworths up north. We didn't have a Kmart, but we did have a Grant's. What was it called? A Grant's Superstore or something like that. It was called Grant's. Later became Zayre's. It was a Kmart type store. That store was about the only one locally that usually had the big rig kits. So getting the big rig kits was the hardest thing. All the other, your regular car and pickup kits, all the drugstores were selling them. The Neisner's, and of course Grant's. I think one of the grocery stores in our town was selling model kits on an aisle. But it was just hit and miss. It was luck of the draw, what you might come across. And I had gotten some big rig kits at Grant's, and I think the Eckerd drugstore. We had a chain of drugstores here in Florida called Eckerd's. Every once in a while they would have one, because I think I got one of them there, one of the big rigs I built back there. But anyway, all right. Short story long. The Alaskan Hauler, I just could never come across one. And even they had reissued it. I think when Matchbox Lesney had AMT for a while. I believe it was reissued in the 80s. I was kind of out of modeling at that time. I was at that age where I was chasing girls and hitting keg parties and being an idiot. And, it was I kind of did a couple builds during that time. In the early 90s, I kind of built one or two, but nothing serious. And, and it wasn't until all the kids got grown up and I'm here at the house trying to stay out of trouble that I really got back into it. But anyway, the Alaskan Hauler, I finally got one. I'm so excited. But that's the story behind this. Was I always wanted one, and when it first came out, and the reason I'd never seen one in the store, but I knew it was out because in like 77ish, maybe it was late 76. I know I was like 13, maybe 12 years old, 13 years old. I believe I was like 13. I think I was in 8th grade, maybe. There's the address on the box, and I had written to AMT and requesting a catalog if I get one. Sent it off, and I forget how long it was. I know it was probably just a few weeks or so. It showed up in the mail. This is not the original one. I did find later, a couple years ago, you know, this copy of it. But the original one I had got totally destroyed because I would take it to school with me every day. And, you know, at that time, you know, a lot of kids were building models then. And we would sit in class before class started, or, you know, lunchtime, or PE when we weren't doing PE, and they just made us sit out on the basketball court or something. And me and my friends would go through this catalog, looking at the models and, you know, pointing at the ones we wanted to get and talking about how we build them and everything. That, you know, it was cool. We were just being nerdy model people, you know, model builders. But so anyway, this was the 77 catalog, and this thing was like, I carried it with me everywhere, especially all through 8th grade. And, you know, of course, when you take it with you every day, it's getting beat up and destroyed, and everyone's handling it. This one's got a little rip there and some wear on it, but, you know, it's mostly just for the nostalgia for me. But yeah, you open it up and there it is, new from AMT for 77. And I remember looking at these in here. I really liked the Gremlin, the custom Gremlin. I knew I was always hoping to run across that one, never did. Let's see, we go to the next page. All the custom vans. I was into all the vans. And I think I'd gotten this one time. A couple of these vans I had built, came across them. I think the disco van was one that I come across. And then the next page was the new for 77. And look what we got here. Right up there. The Alaskan Hauler. And that's the only reason I knew it existed. And I would salivate over that picture. I thought that truck was so boss. I wanted that kit. Well, I'm now 59 years old, and I finally got one. Now if I can build it before I die, that'll be the trick. But anyway, I remember wanting some of these, you know, the Boonie Boss. I remember seeing that, but never ended up getting it. You know, you wanted it, but there was always another one you wanted more, and then you just never ended up getting it, and it disappeared. This one, I was always the tough truck. I remember seeing, I think it was on other box art, or a friend of mine built it, I think. And I remember I'd wanted the Mack Cruise Liner, which I have one now, one of the latest releases. Always wanted one of the whites, which I have those now too. But, you know, as a kid, you wouldn't see them in the stores. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, these were the 143s that they had. I never got into the 143s, which now I would be interested in them, but as a kid I wasn't. And I remember these sets. I remember seeing this Miller one in the store, but you know, when you're 13, 14 years old, 12, 13, 14 years old, you don't, it was hard enough coming up with the jack to get just a regular tractor, you know, just the tractor, but that big kit was a little more expensive. And the Schlitz one, I remember seeing that one. And let's go here, some more stuff. Yeah, these ones, I looked at these. I remember we looked at all these models all the time. I pretty much remember this whole catalog. And these were the ones that weren't new, but I'd built the Moving On one, and another Kenworth. Had the Titan and the Mack and the Peterbilt. Yeah, I'd built all those. I managed to come across those. I think they're at the Grants is where I got them. I think the Moving On I actually got at Eckerd's. I think that popped up there somehow one day. And I was like a squirrel grabbing some acorns and running to the register. Just happened I would work with my dad, and I'd made a little extra money one weekend and had the money for it. And the trailers, a couple of these trailers I'd built. Of course, I loved that kit. I built that one a couple of times. I actually chopped the roof on one of them. The 53 Ford. In fact, that was the box art on the kit. I remember I did that one. And fire trucks I never got into. The Bantam, Ford Bantam. I built that one. That one was really cool. This one I built back when it was out in the early 70s. When I was like 8 years old. That was one of the first models I built was the Boondocker. So I'd already had that one. Yeah, 1977. For those of you that were old enough then to remember. Some of the race cars. There's that, the red alert. How many guys want that one all the time? If I remember right, I did the high roller. I know I built more of these, and of course there was NPC kits too, and the Star Treks I never got into back then. But yeah, so that's kind of the story behind the Alaskan Hauler. The biggest thing was that catalog art right there is what got me hooked on the Alaskan Hauler. And now I got one, so might be popping that one out when I get caught out and get that one built. I'm putting a logging trailer with that one, I think. So that's it for that. That's my stash ad and my stupid little story. So now on to what I'm going to be doing. I got builds to finish. I sat here counting up all the builds I have started that aren't done. I came up with 10. 4 of them are from before I even had a YouTube channel. They're all boxed. They're back in their boxes. I'm not going to break those out right away. I'm not going to do these all right in a row, but I got to start whittling them down. I'm going to concentrate on the ones that are out on my workbench here in my little shop of horrors. This was a big rig group build from last year that I never finished. It's almost done. I mean, it's pretty much just doing all the little trinkets on it, getting the cab mounted to it properly and stuff like that. I got to move my fuel filler caps. I didn't pay attention to those. They should be out here a little more. They're up underneath the cab. Other than that, that one's probably going to be the quickest one to get done. So that's the next one I'm going to finish. Then I have my 63 Chevy 2 station wagon that I put the 427 in. I don't know, any of y'all that have been following the channel may remember that one. That's been a while ago. I know it's been well over a year, maybe a year and a half. Yeah, could be 2 years. I know it's at least a year and a half at a minimum. That one I'm probably going to get out and finished. I mean, it's on my one bench over here on the side. I also have the 66 Ford, the Mobius 66 Ford flare side. That one, the chassis is all done. Interior parts are mostly all painted. Just got to assemble that part. And the two-tone on it, the first color is on. I got to paint the second color. So that one's going to get finished up. And so those are probably going to be the first 3. And then I've got these other ones. How to move things around here. I have a big old cluster of trouble. I've got these ones that are out. Yeah, I got these trays. This is the shop truck group build that I've kind of stalled on that. I was getting into other things. This is the one I'm doing, the 5345 Corvette Roadster pickup. That's where I'm at on it. So yeah, that one's going to be another one. I really want to get that done. That one I'm really wanting to get done. I'd like to get maybe that done to take to Acme at the end of the year. We'll see how that works out. That's, you know, how my track record is. And there's this other one that's probably all but forgotten about. Model Mine 72 had the parts box group build. And this is the one where I was taking the what I had left of a Tyrone Malone drag truck. And yeah, I've been doing some cutting up and stuff on that. That's what I'm doing, marking out. I think I'm gonna chop the roof on it. There's the frame I rebuilt, and that's where I've gotten on it. I got the engine painted. It's kind of something's happening to the paint. I guess it's dust. Yeah, so that's that. I think that goes in there like that. So that's another one. There's the bed that's going on it, and the fuel tank I made, or cut up and cut down. And I'd like to get this done. My little hot rod, rat rod Kenworth. So I got that to finish. And of course I got the, what was that? The GT, Ford GT, 2017 Ford GT Le Mans. Yeah, I got that primed and first round sanded on it. I haven't gotten real far on that, so that one will be later. That's on the shelf. And then I got 4 others that I started a long time ago. A funny car, a gasser, a kind of a Pro Mod 69 Nova, and there's another one. What is it? I know there's another one. Can't remember what it is. Let me look. It's, oh yeah, 60 Corvette that I was building to look like the one that was at the drive-in in American Graffiti at Mel's Diner. What photos I could find of it or stills I got out of the movie. So I was trying to make it look as much as I could to that for what images were available. Those are all boxed up. I started those quite a few years ago. So that's what I'm up to. I'm going to be finishing those. There's a couple group builds I want to do yet. The simple ones. I know the eggplane one's coming up next month. I'll definitely be in that one. The cartoon group build and probably the Halloween group build. But those are the only group builds I'm getting into. I've got to concentrate on stuff I've already started and try not to start any other new builds that are major builds. That's it. I'm rambling. Yeah, okay, I've bored you long enough. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. And, you know, appreciate everyone. Your comments. I like to see the comments. I answer them when I can. I've been real busy lately. It's hard for me to, by the time I get home, sometimes I fall asleep, and when I do have time, I end up sleeping. So I get distracted with that. But I'm trying, people. I'm trying to be a better person. Get to everybody in time instead of waiting a week to answer comments. But go ahead, leave comments. I'll get to you. And again, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. What else is it? Oh, junk mail. You know, if you want junk mail from me, I'll send you a shop card. Drop me a note. My email address is always in the description. And say, hey, Skip, I don't get enough junk mail. Send me some of yours, and I'll send one out to you. All right. Long enough. Till next time, we'll catch y'all later. See ya.